present and sort of made his name in Quake 4 actually, despite obviously being around in the Quake 3 days. But on the international scene, we saw him the most at Quake 4 tournaments. So very experienced player in Clan, that is for sure. Anyone else excite you about their lineup?
I like the music.
You like the music? All right, well, we're into it. So we talked about one of the 4 players of the North American team. We'll see if Emo can somehow manage to create a massive upset. I think it would be an enormous upset. 2Z, they've proven consistent, and already we're going to see the battle here over the first Soul, getting positioning here in the Soul room and the Quad room, and that'll be the toss straight up there towards the rocket. And this is a pretty safe way to do it. You can just carry it all the way through from the rocket down towards the telly, down into that lower point.
And this is something we saw at QuakeCon, is that 2Z would generally magical, always getting that first sacrifice cap and holding on to it as well. And when they're able to secure and consolidate that position, they're just incredibly immovable because of, as we said, the way in which they go about playing it. But as we say that, it has been stolen away. I'm going to call them MO because saying that whole thing is just a mouthful.
Indeed, indeed, indeed. It's a steal straight back though for Silencep, and you can see that the power was collected here by 2Z. Now, one thing to look out for from them is the way that they set up the defense here. They've got the quad, and this is a very important distinction because right now with the quad, that quad is creating a huge amount of space, and the quad is going to allow them to take optimal positions around the spawns and around the weapons in forward spaces. So we'll have to see whether they can get a lockout. Looks like it's not the case here.
No, and MO doing an exceptionally good job. I mean, unfortunate that Claws didn't get more impact with that quad, but even still, being able to bully them off the point. But this is one of the original strats, if you will, of that 2Z do very, very well, and you can tell me more about that, but is the way in which, as soon as they know a point is lost, instead of committing, they all back off to the enemy's obelisk and set up camp there, meaning even if you are going to camp, they're very happy for you to do it because they're just going to steal it straight back. And this is why we see the reverse from MO now, because they need to clear that point before they go ahead and cap it.
Yeah, it's looking like they're doing a pretty good job here, just keeping that Soul mobilized, preventing any... Well, 21%, that's okay. 2Z can be happy with that, but one of the things to consider now is the power-up is coming in 30 seconds here. So if they can really get the advantage, the lead here, there will be some pressure and a good potential for them to set up on the power-up. They could even concede their points so that they can grab the power-up. They will be definitely vulnerable to back caps, someone coming in like stealing it whilst the team is at the power-up, but you can see that they should still have the advantage. It's tossed back here. Now the power-up needs to be the main concern. 10 seconds for the power-up. Latromi with the steal, but that's not important. He's now out of the power-up fight, which is in 3 seconds. See if he can get back there. Looks like he can't in time, so he's going to pick up that power-up. It is going to be Silencep. He gets the protection.
And he's pretty stacked as well. If he gets back to this base, it gets any sort of re-stacking ability, then it could be really dangerous. But instead, no, Emo pushing, just not doing enough, and Ron picks up the battle suit to consolidate that position. This is where it gets scary now. 2Z all alive, all with weaponry. Emo need to try and regroup rather than going in straggles, and that's what it appears to be doing so far.
It's a really hard balance to understand because sometimes you can kind of force your way in and kind of make the shots work. But as you say, sometimes, okay, we're gonna get pummels all around and everyone's dead. So just like that, essentially, just go and take the fight.
As we see, they're all alive, and that's because they didn't overcommit and go in one by one. Instead, they decided to regroup and go as 4. Yes, you have to commit another 5–10% to the obelisk, the enemy's obelisk, but it's still definitely worth it if you can guarantee that you get the steal.
Yeah, and this map can be really hard to attack that lower point from because off the spawn, it takes a long time to get to the position that Latromi just entered the A obelisk through. So it feels very tense when you have to wait for your teammates because you really want to get in there. You don't want to let them set up. It's a very hard balance to strike. But so far, Emo have been able to do a decent job here. But you can see that Ron will be able to get that Soul straight across. Unable to get a toss though, but it will drop lowest point, and his teammates will be there to aid in some support. Venom there sitting on the point, and that Soul might not make it there. The steal coming in here. Really nice movement coming in. Toss up to the high ground there.
Excellent toss.
And Griffin popping the berserk to get himself quickly back onto a cap. And they're actually able to, they're so far proving that they can bully 2Z off of these defensive positions.
Yep. 2Z looking to have chinks in their armor compared to QuakeCon already, even though, yes, we're only halfway through the first map, it's still, this was something that would not have been happening at QuakeCon.
Here it is, Sane trying to protect the soul here, but it's not going to be happening. The toss comes in, falls onto the rail. I don't think that was intended, however. Oh no, it's stuck. Oh dear, that's awkward. Oh my god, that's so awkward. That, you hate to see it. You hate to see it if you're 2C.
I don't think I've ever seen it.
Oh man. Well, it looks like Claw should. No, he's actually going to lose quad. Look at how disruptive that has actually been. Because he had the quad still. If there's a cap, they would likely have been able to set up at least 10-15% minimum before a steal comes in. So this is a huge potential for MO.
Oh dear, Tommy, you silly boy.
3 quick kills there for the 2Z side, and with the power up, well, it's actually a minute away. Don't have to worry about that. This could be a turning point for 2Z if they can get it safely back to their point, not having to worry about any power-up attacks. But it will actually be instead the case for MO, who have actually secured this point.
Not for long, as another great attack coming in pairs. We have the Silent Step and Claws from the left, and Prawn and Chomi from the right, in the pincer movement, if you will.
And again, just denied on the way across there. It looks like it should be pretty good here for a 2Z. Okay, looks like they have made the cap as well, so start building that percentage. 2Z yet to actually be able to stabilize, and that's something that I expect them. They're very good at that on this map, stabilizing, getting the correct positions to pressure the weapons to also prevent spawns, because you have to take the positions which will allow you good visibility to obviously prevent the opponents from entering the base, but also you don't want to stand too many people in one place. You want to deny spawns at the same time.
Exactly.
So, you want 1 or 2 on the stairs, you want 1 covering the back, you want 1 on the high ground. Sometimes teams play 2 on the high grounds, depending on the situation.
The only fortunate thing now is while 2Z have set up effectively the
protection.
The protection.
The protection. The protection.
I like that term, actually. I think that's better. Is up, which means 2Z either have to stick out or they give it up. And it seems that they try to give it up.
And that's the protection there onto Griffin. He picks up the Mega. That is going to be a very unkillable Doom go up to see if he can do much with this. He should be able to get a cap, but the damage here is massive. There's no teammates to really offer any support here, so getting out is going to be very difficult indeed. And barely surviving, his teammates barely coming in time to give him some aid there to escort him along. It's that protection really working out very well here for MO, and they're going to be onto the cap here, but they can't allow a steal to happen. 2Z have 92%.
Yes, the next real return of that soul for 2Z should be enough. They have got it, but can they get it back cleanly? That is the question. And no, MO pick it back up, should be able to recap this. It's not over. Yes, it's only 50%, but it is ticking up very quickly. 2Z are all pretty weak at this point in time.
Very nice stuff from Sane there, connecting some shots and trying to ferry that soul back across his 2Z, but it's going to be recollected there by Venom. We'll have to see whether or not that's going to make it all the way across. With the Berserk coming out here as the point will be protected. Can anyone get onto it? Can they stop this? Again, until there's one in Sacrifice, you never know how it's going to go down. And can someone get on it? Oh, denied. And there it is.
There we go.
Okay, that should be it. That should be it. Maybe it's not. So close.
It's definitely over. It's just a matter of when.
Sometimes you get hero plays, but surely they can't do it. Right now, everybody from 2Z playing correctly, just standing on the point. Should be absolutely fine. And there it is. First round collected.
But it was not clean.
It was not clean. They could never really stabilize. And again, that was a surprise to me.
It really was to me as well, because there were a couple of times where I thought they were going to, but then MO regrouped extremely effectively and had some excellent pushes. The one real opportunity they got to stabilize, it was unfortunate timing because the protection was just coming out, which meant there was a final lifeline for MO, but it just wasn't enough. They need to get the first grab at the soul for me.
And one of the opportunities as well that they got was with 2Z, the soul got stuck on the wall and that actually
so that was
prevented them. That was a guaranteed cap. That was the entire team running the soul. So yeah, we'll have to see whether or not MO can improve upon the last rounds, around 50% for them. And it's going to be, once again, 2Z with the first pickup of the soul. And it's the Tromi running it with the heavy. He's going to get it back to that lower point A. Or actually, no, going point B. All right, so going for the mix-up. So
yeah,
both points are pretty defensible, so it's not a huge difference.
Perhaps for the last time it wasn't the preferred option, or perhaps thinking that MO did a very good job at attacking it, so why don't we switch it up?
And it's, you know, back when I was playing around Quake the clutch meta was pretty huge, and clutch is very scary in this map. But one of the ways to play against clutch is the slash. Like the slash plasma trail is a very useful preventative method, and so it's cool to see that there's no clutch here. Actually, we have a fast-paced lineup. Although that said, clutch is very fast somehow.
That is a big
fast for like a 100-ton robot.
Yeah, we can shift ourselves.
Yeah, so far so good here for 2Z. Griffin getting some damage in. Here we have the power spawning in 30 seconds.
They've taken a mighty big chunk of that percentage already.
Oh, 60 seconds, sorry.
So they've already taken a huge amount, 36% already, with only 1 minute and 45 gone.
And this is also a very hard point to attack as well, just due to the fact that you have to coordinate very well, and it gets to this point where if their defense gets to a point where they have stabilized and they've set up, they've got like, you know, two players on the point, you know, one on the LG jump pad, one towards the middle, then all of a sudden you have to slow down. You have to slow it down, exactly. You got to coordinate, or you have to play the power up.
But the problem with that is if you have your attack and you've used all your abilities and you still don't get it, then you're in trouble, because you've literally just wasted 30, 40, 50%. And then it's panic stations, and that's when you see a little bit of disharmony coming in the attacks, as the way they're not as coherent and organized. So you need that discipline throughout the whole game, if you will. But we've got 14 seconds until the next power up.
This is a crucial one. I mean, right now it's just nothing is really working out for MO. They need to get that power up to swing the tide.
2Z are all very, very weak. But somehow...
But they're going to get the protection regardless.
Somehow they get it. Look at their health bars. They were all on absolute limit of what they could be.
And there it is. The steal comes in. Again, the protection on Ronnie's going to be able to easily cap it back there with the assistance of his teammates. See Venom waiting there actually with the soul, not wanting to actually cap it, doesn't want the protection to be able to stand on it, or actually perhaps he will cap it after all. Kron is there, not much health, he can go for the toss, it will toss it down low, and that can be taken through the telly here. So on a step back onto the point here for his team.
That was an interesting play. I'm not sure why they didn't cap it before.
Yeah, exactly. I thought he was going to wait till the protection runs out, which would make a lot of sense actually to play like that, but then he decided to go in afterwards. So not sure what the decision making was there for him, but we'll get a cap in the end, but still 74% is recapped immediately. And 2Z, they're laughing all the way to the bank at the moment. They're only 2% here for MO. What a different round.
Yeah, this was the switching points. We can see the difference there, and MO were much more effective at attacking point A. As you can see, it's a much wider open space, meaning it's easier to get in. You have a lot more speed coming in, particularly from the top side. You also have the teleporter to sneak in, whereas point B is very enclosed on the high ground, and you have to be exceptionally coordinated to get up. And one of the stronger points is up through that jump pad using the plasma tail on the slash, for instance, but even still, your life is miserable.
It is a miserable life for MO right now, not for 2Z. MO will be losing the soul once again. The recap comes back in though, but will 2Z be able to reclaim this? Obviously, the defense has been destabilized somewhat. Clamp, though, coming in with some great rockets and LG, actually cleaning up the players of 2Z to give his teammates some breathing room. They've actually got a setup going now. They've, Claw's got a double kill here. So still, so much damage is being done by 2Z that there's always these opportunities for a player to sneak in, to get a 1v1, or for something to happen, to get a steal, to get a throw.
Yeah, they're very, very good at that. And not only that, but more often than not, I'm saying that even though last round it wasn't as good, their throws are normally extremely good as well.
There it is, that quad is going to be down on the ground. Here's Akron who has it, and now it's going to be defending that soul as he runs it across the map once again. A safe route through rockets.
Irrespective, MO are doing an admirable job of staying in this game.
Of how much longer? 10% more here for 2Z to hold on to, and they will win this map. Now the play comes back in from MO. They don't have really much choice at this point. They've just got to charge onto that point. Just keep bodies on it. That's all that they can really do. Look at that. Plasma trail comes in. We've got the pummels here, the shotguns. They cannot touch this point. Latromi is just pushing them all back with the pummel, and that should be it. Indeed, it is 2Z with a, well, I would say clean, but of course the first round was they experienced some troubles. as a misfortune, but they did stabilize towards the second round for a good cleanup.
I'd call it a warm-up round.
A warm-up round.
A warm-up round because
That's fair enough.
they still showed that they were a league above MO. But MO did an admirable job. It was difficult, really difficult.
I got caught yawning on the camera.
What?
I know, it seems very I'm jet lagged, I'm very jet lagged.
That's not an excuse.
It is an excuse.
It's not an excuse.
It is.
How?
What? It makes
It's not
you
very
tired.
professional.
Or to
We
not
bring you
experience-
all the way here.
not experience
We
fatigue.
accept you into our community, and this is what you do.
Hey, I mean, you're coming into my community. I was casting. Actually, I think you casted before me, actually, thinking about it.
Yeah, I probably would have a long time.
Yeah, because I think you casted some DreamHacks before I started casting.
Yes.
Because you casted during the IEM days as well.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And
Damn.
this is what you do to me.
I know, right? I know. You just have to put up with it, I'm afraid. Just as Emo have to put up with playing 2Z, because it's definitely going to be feeling quite challenging. Perhaps it's not as challenging as for you, casting with me, but for them, it is certainly going to be also an interesting experience, because one of the things with 2Z that we haven't really discussed yet as well, which does play into Sacrifice massively, is I was sort of building into the point in the pregame that a lot of the teams have different approaches to the game.
Yep.
And it's not just a different approach, it's that their pacing might be different. The way that they, like some teams, like 2Z for example, 2Z are actually a team that they immediately understood that they have to be coordinated and they can't just rush in all the time. And so they really try to get high value out of their attacks. They don't just throw in attacks for no good reason. There is thought behind them, and their thought behind their pacing and how they want to actually play these maps. So you have to really play them and get experience against them to know how to beat them. And that's really a problem if you're going to face them for the first time, perhaps in a tournament.
Yeah.
That's an issue for you. Obviously, there's more of the European teams will be able to practice against them online, which will definitely help. But I think one of the issues, back for their QuakeCon run, leading up to that, was that teams did practice against them, but at the same time, 2Z still played differently to everybody else. No one actually could emulate their play style. So the only way you could learn to beat them was by playing them.
And they've innovated so many strategies and styles as well, like the shotgun starting spawn and the use of slash.
We did that first.
Don't lie.
We did 4 shotguns first. There is clips.
Yeah,
The
I'm not saying
qualifiers.
4, but Claws I thought was the first one
Okay.
to start using it using slash.
Okay, maybe. But
But
same we
even still,
ran the 4 shotguns
and
first. The same.
they innovated what would look like the CES.
Yeah.
But as you rightly mentioned, it's not. It's very coordinated, and they know exactly what they're doing. They just want to throw bodies at you, and they do it in such an effective way that
Yep.
eventually it overpowers you. And once that happens, they are able to stabilize. They take their positions, and then it becomes an
Yep.
incredibly hard uphill battle to make that comeback.
And I do love the measured presence that they have on the team as well. Like a Silent Step, for example, is just sort of very much a rock of team play and
Sure.
sort of experience and guidance for the team. And Latromi as well. I feel like they're very, very, very experienced team players. And obviously, Claws and Hron come into the picture. Hron is just to me, an incredibly versatile player. He can do pretty much anything. And Claws is obviously a mechanical beast. I mean, there's all of the players have a great skill level. So honestly, it is just they're just such a. I love having a team like this. I love having a team to beat. I love a team that is so clearly dominant. I love a team that crushes everyone because it just makes for a great storyline.
Yeah.
Because it's all about the race, the struggle against them, and eventually someone's going to figure it out. And we'll have to see if that is going to happen this tournament. As we enter the second map, it will be. I want to say Campgrounds. Can I say Campgrounds?
Go on, say camp rounds.
I'm going to say, okay, Blood Covenant.
You just realised what the real name was.
No, I actually respect the reason why they changed the name. And we can go into that later on. As we are back into this, and there's plasma trails all over the place. They will be collected, the soul, eventually by 2Z. Trying to run it towards the bridge point here. Unable to do so, though. Hron actually going to have to back out, but this is very chaotic. It's very hard to predict. Okay, it looks like, okay, so trying going for the safe cap. Fair enough. And
What is your preferred obelisk on this map?
I think both points are very defensible. 2Z were actually the first team to show that the best approaches to defending the B point, the bridge point.
Yeah.
They're very, very good at that. But honestly, I think teams by this point understand how to defend both. I think it's really about how difficult they are to attack. And the one that I don't want to attack usually is actually this room I struggle with more.
Yeah,
Generally
I
speaking, it's
agree.
much easier to set up once you get that good power up. You clear up the entire offense. They have to slow the defense down, and then they set up. It's so hard to break it sometimes.
Yeah, I completely agree. That high ground is so defensible compared to over here where it's pretty vulnerable and there are many, many entrances as well. So
it's very hard to get at the railer. If you have a railer on this, on the bridge point, on point B, who is playing defensively at the back lines, you can get to him. Yeah. You can close the distance. There is definitely a bunch of ways, but you can't do that without being spotted, really. Even if you ghost walk in as a Nyx, you have to run really far to actually get to that back point. So that's another challenge. You've got a good railer. And this point is a lot about the rails as well. You can see already a pretty even start between the teams, 20% either side.
Yeah, MO doing a good job so far. Long time until the next power-up as well, so this is a nice opportunity for them to have, or at least achieve, a nice positional chunk of that.
Nice,
that's
done.
A cheeky tactic.
It is, yeah, that's a really nice way to do it. You can do it on the other point as well, but it's be interesting to see if they can actually get across here. There's a lot of pressure coming in from the likes of MO. You can see Clap able to steal it away, tosses up the stairs. They're just trying to get the toss, and that's actually really important because it's if you're being chased, sometimes it's just good to just keep tossing it. Because even if it goes to an enemy, he may not be in a position to actually use that very effectively. And you have to rely on your teammates sometimes.
Well, just over 5 seconds now until the protection is up, which is perfect timing because it allows MO to get back onto that point. Although it is now stolen away from them as they do so.
That protection so very strong, and it is held by MO, and that's going to help them stabilize dramatically now. And this will be really interesting to see how they decide to go for their setup. One of the things that can be really good on this map is having, a couple players in the back points, and that's what 2Z were very good at. Having players in the back rooms, using the rockets to push people off the obelisk from behind those choke points, forcing them to come into these back rooms to try and actually take you down. Otherwise, you can't really just get the pickup on the Soul. However, Sunset will be able to do so with the assistance of his teammates, and that's another cap for 2Z. But they're actually trailing right now, and wow, there's actually a really good opportunity for MO. Going for another steal and actually being successful straight away on the high ground. They should be able to get this out.
They have done, but it isn't clean, and at the moment, Claus does have it and should be able to at least get it to a teammate, if not back onto the point himself. Even still, they are trailing, as you say, by 20%, which is a big old margin at this stage.
Going back in now for the assault. MO looking to clean things up here. Some good work there from Venom, but he'll be traded out eventually. And now this is the interesting point, because it looks like 2Z is starting to get a setup going, and you can see that the Mega position is not yet being run. That's like the next step, really, for them. They can deflect this next attack and get a Mega timing. Things will start to look quite different, and Emma will have to start slowing things down a little bit and start thinking about the power-up. It is coming in 30 seconds, and that power-up is probably going to be the best bet now for 2Z to reclaim control of the situation. They seem to be struggling holding on to A.
They do seem to be struggling, and Nemo, they probably will stabilize here, but they do get the throw away. I don't think it's gone to anyone just yet because Lachomi's missed it. He's not got the biggest stack in the world. He is met by Slash.
The power-up is coming. Any second now, the power-up will spawn, and Silent Sep, he's got a hell of a lot of work on his hands right now because that power-up actually did go into the hands of 2Z. That's to get the status on Griffin. Oh no, it went to Griffin now, so my mistake, and that's a really big problem for 2Z. As Griffin's going to make his way over to the obelisk. Tommy, they know where he is. They know he's coming through. The now going to missed shot there from Griffin, and that will actually cause him to have to fall down to the shotgun. But he's going to be able to defend with his shotgun. But look at the health that the damage that he suffered, all because that he missed the first shot, and then the Soul dropped. Otherwise, would have recapped, would have stabilized with the quad. But it's chaos.
The 2Z are in trouble here. They are going to get this steal, but they have now not a lot of leeway with terms of mistakes. They have to cap this, and they have to do it cleanly.
The Plasma Trail actually helping out quite a bit there, but the drop down into 2 players. Now, that was a misread to that situation. Definitely not the right call, and now that's a big opportunity here, just as you said, for this map to be cleared up, or rather this round to be cleared up on Blood Covenant for MO.
They've got one last coordinated attack in there.
Yep.
They haven't got a lot to work with. 15 seconds. They were all dead as well, so they need to get this steal. Claus is dead. That's a huge loss. Here they come as 3.
Yeah, got to get on that point. Claus is trying to do it. He's going to be coming in very soon to help his teammates out. It's all down to the fragging here. They have to get the steal. They have to absolutely get the steal. If they don't get a steal, there's no more power-up to help them out.
Oh no, they're all dead.
And the toss over, and that's just going to go back into enemy hands, back into MO's hands, back onto the obelisk. Oh, the rocket not quite
See
connecting.
you later.
Claws with a double, but it may be too little too late. Here is TZ look like they're about to concede this first round against
Saints doing an amazing job on that defense as the Anarchy. Can hear cheers coming out from the on stage. They are happy to take that first round of map 2.
There it is. And Anarchy actually is, his role is really, really critical because Anarchy is so strong with rockets and sacrifice because of his ability to quickly move in and out of a fight and quickly move into a position where he can shoot a rocket and then move out of position. He's obviously also hard to hit as well, but that dynamic makes him absolutely phenomenal at playing backline defense towards that's the B obelisk. So we'll see whether the obelisks work out the same here for the teams.
Yeah, I for one was massively impressed when I started to see that defensive Anarchy play, because at the very start of Quake Champions in the early stages of this mode, many people were just using it for pure offense. And as soon as, again, Latromi was one of the earliest that I saw doing it, sticking on that point on the defensive Anarchy with that significantly fast dodging and the ability as well to heal himself, it's just such a potent defense.
Right, so now it's going to be time to see whether there is going to be a turnaround. We saw a slow start for 2Z on that first round of the first map. Perhaps it'll be the same story in this one as well. We'll have to see. Latromi will pick up the quad. He's going to ferry it back over to his teammates on his point. Oh, missing the shotgun there, but the second will connect. The second buckshot connecting. And Latromi a little bit low at this point as well. Sticking onto the quad though. Pressure onto bridge. I like that. Just damage and nothing else. That's actually sometimes really important. And that's like one of those CTF elements to a certain extent. You get some damage off, and now it's going to make the attack just generally weaker.
Yeah. You can see though 2Z switching it up, going to point B after actively choosing point A before. And after saying we prefer point A, everyone showed us up.
Here it is. 45%, 0 for MO. Very similar now to that Ruins of Sarnath that we just saw. Although MO were able to take a round off of 2Z, and that's something that was, as you mentioned previously, incredibly difficult and unexpected at around the QuakeCon 3 months ago. So actually getting the assault out once again, back to that A point.
Yeah, his Anarchy is actually very impressive. The amount of speed he's getting in some of these recaps have been remarkable.
Indeed, and now it's 2Z looking to try to recover here. Nothing really going on here for MO. The power up 30 seconds away. That's something that they can consider. There it is, actually able to cap once again onto A.
2Z are all there in full force though, but so can they get anything here? Kron is relatively full and is able to get it away as well. But again, poor throw this time. Nevertheless, Claws is ready and waiting to support.
Jump pad they go once again, looking for the assault onto their own point, and they're going to be able to make it work, but actually not much of an assault. There's not too many enemies there. That's because the power-up is spawning. The protection's up. It was just collected, and that's... Oh, it's actually quad damage. That's going to go to Sane. What can he do with it? He's got a bunch of guns, rail included. Shotgun might come out here, potentially. Depends on the situation. We have the run coming back in here. Teammates to support. They should be fine in this situation. Quad back in.
Oh, no.
To play is given up to Silent Sep, and he gets the assault as well. So a chance here for 2Z perhaps.
Some of those small mistakes of not being able to cap it can turn out to be absolutely massive in the grand scheme of these rounds. So let's hope it doesn't come back to bite them, because they are still trailing by over 50%.
Yeah, it's a pretty rough situation. Using that nail gun. Very satisfying to connect the nail gun. Much like the plasma gun in Quake 3. For some reason, just a very satisfying gun, because it's hard to hit those shots, but they do so much damage. It feels really good when it connects.
I prefer the plasma gun, but yeah, they're equally as skillful.
Why do you prefer it?
I just think
it's like balls of energy.
Yeah, just
blue balls of energy.
It's just cooler. And you can do loads of cool stuff with it, like plasma jumping and stuff.
But is it thematically consistent with Quake? That's the question. Perhaps not.
Oh, I'm not getting into these philosophical debates with you.
Indeed. Well, it is once again an attack onto the A point, and the assault is grabbed. Silent Step to catch that one, throws it straight back. as he's under pressure. It's a good instant throw back down to the enemy point, essentially, but his teammates were ready and waiting for that. However, stuck in the choke points here, Clamp holding it down, able to recollect that soul for the time being, though it's close until he has received the end of the shotgun of Same.
It's been messy, but what MO have done is they've stopped the progression from 2Z. So yes, 2Z's kept stealing it, but they haven't been able to get it back. So that in itself is a good feat, and every little time they're able to do that, they're able to chip away at that lead of 2Z, and it's getting to the point where it's even almost.
It is definitely closing in on that, but and this is the big difference maker as well, the protection again. And this is something that 2Z have not been amazing on. The power-up game and also the power-up running game has not been that remarkable so far from them.
No, and they do look extremely vulnerable, and it's been pretty sloppy actually throughout. So no reason why MO can't, if they cannot stabilize, because there's no power-ups now for a long time. So the next real stabilization could be the winning time.
So here we have it. Trummy looking to make an attack here with his teammates. Does get stopped by the bridge. It's a kill though. Ooh, oh, Pummel comes in. That soul stolen. Injects used. Venom ferrying it across. 66% at the moment, but the Trummy back in with a kill and a steal. Throwing it all the way back to the telly here. Around the power-up, using that movement speed.
Really, really nice call there. Someone on the bridge telling them that it wasn't safe to go through that way. Nevertheless, Venom clearing it up, realizing that.
That Pummel, man, is so annoying. And this is one of the reasons why this point is amazing, is because the nail gun is actually so strong in these choke points, in the close range engagements, and also around the obelisk itself. The nail gun's very good because the movement is somewhat predictable, and they'll be moving around in a circle generally.
2Z are in really big trouble here, DDK.
They absolutely are.
80%, and they're all falling down. But this, really great use.
Soul has been stolen. Another capture there. We'll see. Can they get it back onto points? It is a struggle, isn't it, at the moment? Is there something you want to see different? A change and adaptation.
Yeah. Play better.
All right. Heard it here first. Play better.
No, this is the first time in like 5 minutes where they've actually successfully got the sacrifice or the obelisk back to their point, but not for long.
Well, there's another toss back in. So many tosses back onto Frondo, and he'll comfortably grab that. Now, there is a real opportunity for 2Z. Again, a team that you expect to be able to hold on to a position like this indefinitely almost.
And they have got a clean quad. So that was a very important, nice play from the Trummy, but they do just get it off, and Ron is knocked off at the worst time, leaving the Soul to get out of the base.
Venom, throw back in. So much chaos. Silent Step gets the block off though. Back into the hands of Latromi as he defends. And now it's a question of how do we get across the map? How do we get across the map?
Well, this is where MO have been the most impressive to me in this particular round, because they've just managed to stop 2Z time and time again. Their organization and their in-game calling must be spot on. They backed off this time to try and commit as 4, but 2Z has all of the power-ups up, and you can see MO falling one by one with only 1 remaining at this point in time. They've got just over 10% left, but there's no real time to recollect. They have to push in now.
Wow, are they actually going to come back? It's looking really good for 2Z at the moment. Venom still locking things down on the obelisk, having a great game so far.
All dead, all dead. There we go, we've got someone who's alive.
Uh-oh.
This is last shot saloon, but they're all on it. They've managed to push off 2Z for the last time.
That's crazy, then they can actually win as well. It's a bit insane that the power-up is spawning right this second. It is going to be, I think it's protection actually.
It is a protection, and it is on Ron.
That is bad news here for the boys of MO. Ron with that protection. I'm surprised he's not just standing on the point there.
He's going to die though.
He's getting LG for days.
Oh, clever use of the ability there, bouncing the Soul off the stairs, being able to pop the Berserk, and gets away.
on there. Desperately fine. That's the position I was talking about before, just to, like working the choke, like from the choke point, getting the rockets onto the pillar, because they go to that point, they don't see you there.
Yeah.
And so you peek out, you see if there's a guy standing on it, you get him with a direct rocket. It's pretty simple. And it looks like it was not simple for 2Z, losing a round.
Nearly losing the map. Should have probably lost the map after the way that MO played in the mid game there, but just scraping it through. That early lead they got when they consolidated that good 50-60% was just enough to see over the line. Otherwise, almost certainly they would have lost that round.
Well, it's all about closing it down, isn't it? So let's see if they've learned anything from their opponents, and vice versa. MO probably don't feel as though they need to change much. What they were doing seemed to be working well enough. And
but this time they get the preferred point.
Yeah, and this is where they had a Stormer previously. Although the steal for the Soul is in Silence Up on that one.
Nice quick play by Claws. He's using that flash to great effectiveness.
The damage output is just so scary, isn't it? The machine gun doing so much work. So much quad left. It feels good. Nothing feels better than quad. To be honest, it's just so fun, just absolutely blasting everyone. So much damage here from the starting shotgun. It is actually an amazingly good quad weapon. Just as the machine gun is. I suppose everything is, but still. You can't quite get out of the positions though. That's kind of the problem right now.
Yeah, this pillars area has really been kind of a graveyard for both teams in the previous 2 rounds.
Back in once again. 25% there and climbing for 2Z. They're looking pretty good in this one. Saying though, as you mentioned, he's been on point. He's been doing a lot of good work here for his team, but he's unable to get the pressure in that's required. And again, 2Z are in a position where they're looking to stabilize, and then you get this decision making here from their opponent's MO, you know, whether or not they understand that, okay, we've got to slow this down now. We can't just rush in. But so far, I feel as though across both maps, we haven't really had a situation where either team has had a good lock.
No. And that's credit to both teams in managing their attack, because it's much easier to attack. If you attack well, it's almost impossible to defend. And so that we have to give credit to the teams for good attacks rather than poor defense, I think.
Absolutely, and with the toss onto the high ground, a slightly scary moment just for a second there for the 2Z boys as they now perhaps is thinking about quad. I would imagine on the comms they're starting to call it. There's 20 seconds to go for the quad. You have to start building your way towards that position.
Protection as well. So if they get this protection cleanly, it could almost be game over, even though it's only really early stages in this round.
Indeed.
Nice read by Claws.
Wow, yep, you got to check for that. You got to check for the man standing by the telly if the power-up is spawning. And see Horon getting stacked up there with that protection. He is ready to go. He's ready to be the playmaker to just end this map for 2Z for a clean 2-0 sweep. Well, I say clean. They've lost some rounds here or there, but it could end it in 2 at the very least and avoid a 3rd map. Cron across the map here. Not much protection left. About 20% remaining in the bank. In the tank, I should say, actually.
This is gonna, yeah, this is now very tough. It's desperation territory already as 2Z break the 70% mark. Meaning there is not a lot of time left. Not a lot of energy left by looking for MO as well, as they're struggling to get this cap.
Oh, good shotgun work coming out there from Clamp. As he goes in for the push here, doing as much damage as he possibly can, gets a good pop. And there's the shuffle as well. Sane looking to go for the run here. The Anarchy maneuvering very quickly about the map here to get the cap. One last chance perhaps here for MO in this situation. 2Z in quite quickly though to deny, and that's it. The Soul's gone off the map.
But predicting it, Sane is already up and waiting. Nice calling coming out once again from MO, and I've been really very impressed by their in-game calling. I mean, we can only assume, but you can see by the way they're playing and the effectiveness, the coordination coming out from the team, how well they are communicating. So that is definitely a strength for them. Something in general that the American teams are particularly good at.
Oh, absolutely. And yeah, they have a lot of experience in the CTF as well. Very good at that, but Never mind that map is about to be over potentially unless MO can do something to stop this. Get some pressure coming in there from Venom and a lot of frags. We can see a lot of red on the the kill tracker, and that does indicate that a lot of frags are going away of MO, and they've managed to grab the soul because of it. Trying to make his way back there towards the heavy, but can't quite, or rather, well, it's not heavy, but it isn't heavy. It's heavy in Jewel.
It's heavy, yes. Heavy enough.
It's a heavy obelisk. Massive pile of stone. And perhaps filled with demon blood, I'd imagine. Why not?
Yeah, why not? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it gets sacrificed, so I don't know what else. I don't know how you can do a sacrifice like demon blood. Everyone knows that. So we've got Griffin now making the run with the Berserk, and you can see it's very, very strong here. You can absolutely see why Doom is a great pick for sacrifice, great maneuverability, very versatile. The movement options on top of that, absolutely phenomenal there. I can see him being such a strong pick for this. And Loshromi able to get a steal, speaking of which, on that Anarchy so quick. And there's a cap. One thing I would love to see more of is that slash from Claws is quite ridiculous how fast he can be with it.
That is definitely GG now. Once this last MO guy goes down, that should be it. There's no one else really that could be in sight, and it is. Good games. And it was good games. Everyone predicted, the experts predicted, Twitch chat predicted that it would be, it would be a whitewash.
A complete smashing, yeah.
But it wasn't.
It was not, no. That is, right there, 2Z looked mortal. They looked vulnerable. They looked like they can bleed. Yeah. And they bled. They only bled one round, but that's something.
It's a lot more than we would have seen at QuakeCon.
And I feel as though they would hold themselves to withstand it high. They would expect more. They're going to be happy with the win, but they're going to know that maybe something wasn't clicking. Maybe that was a bit too troublesome. There's some things to be thought about there, because if they're having, a harder time against MO, because MO definitely had a lot of opportunities.
Yeah, for
they
sure.
created, they made plays, they caused problems. So if MO can do that, what happens when they're playing the likes of Liquid, or they're playing the likes of Stacked, or some of the teams which have more experience and we expect on paper to do better?
Yeah, and